Hello everyone, it's Farah from A Booktube Book, and today I'm going to be telling you about the numerous reasons why you should be giving Charles Dickens a chance. Here's the thing, my sister and I are co-opening a business called Dickens. It'll be like this concept double-decker cafe moving library sort of thing. But the thing is, even though we've named it Dickens, we haven't read all of his works. So I've sort of made it my mission this year to read all of his works, and here are some of the ones that I've been excited about. Here's the thing about Charles Dickens. I like to think of him as the Neil Gaiman of his time almost, because he's written across genres. He's written different kinds of genres for different seasons and festivities. He's written for different audiences, but he's got his very distinct style at the same time, so much so that they refer to it as the Dickensian style of prose even. And yes, that usually means very detailed, but in my case, I like to think of it as descriptive and atmospheric and transportive. So do not be daunted, because even though you think of Charles Dickens, you think of, I don't know, Bleak House and Hard Times, he's got a little bit of a lighter, jollier side, a sort of sense of humor. So A Christmas Carol was the first book that I read for Charles Dickens. I did not read it around Christmas, but this is something that you can definitely pick up first. I think this is a great place to start, because they kind of used to call Charles Dickens as the man who invented Christmas. He kind of created this whole Christmas festive spirit, this sort of Christmas literature, if you will, and this is a great place to start. Everybody knows Ebenezer Scrooge, everybody knows Bah Humbug and Tiny Tim, and God bless us everyone. Charles Dickens is a very quotable guy. You don't realize, you know, as many quotes as you do until you've started reading it. So this is a great place to start. I think A Christmas Carol is a perfect place. You can read it around winter time, around Christmas, or you could read it like me in the middle of June in the UAE when it's really hot and you're looking for a little bit of escapism. Next story I read for Charles Dickens was actually Oliver Twist. This is sort of a middle grade sort of story, just because it follows a younger protagonist, Oliver Twist. Please sir, can I have some more? We're actually looking to make that our slogan for the business, but that's another thing. Oliver Twist is also filled with very memorable characters. All of Charles Dickens' books really talk about the idea of family and identity and belonging and the character's arc from the start to finish, and this is definitely one of those amazing stories. And the great thing about Charles Dickens also is that because he wrote his stories a really long time ago, there are so many adaptations that you can look at. There is the Oliver Twist musical as well, and the movies and the play, so have at it guys. And the third Charles Dickens story that I read was Great Expectations. This actually ended up being one of my favorite classics. There's just something so beautifully heartwarming about it. The moral of the story at the end of this, just it really touches you. Like all of Charles Dickens' stories, there are heroes and villains, but in some cases the people you thought were villainous are not who they seem to be. And I think that's what makes this so special. You've got very memorable characters, very memorable lines, very memorable atmospheres, and whether it's Victorian London or the streets of some town in England, it's just really beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. And this actually ended up being one of my favorite Charles Dickens stories, but also one of my favorite classics. The next Charles Dickens book that I would love to read next, and I've been dying to read this for a long time, is A Tale of Two Cities. And this is actually not set in Victorian London or England. It is set in the backdrop of the French Revolution. And this book actually contains one of my most favorite quotes of all time, whether it's my favorite opening lines or my favorite first page or just my favorite quote in general. And it's one that I think most of you are familiar with. It was the best of times, it was the worst of times, it was the age of wisdom, it was the age of foolishness, it was the epoch of belief, it was the epoch of incredulity, it was the season of light, it was the season of darkness, etc, etc. I just think it's just absolutely brilliant, and it's one that I've been really meaning to pick up for a very long time. And the other few books that I would really like to read are David Copperfield. This one is a sort of autobiographical take on Charles Dickens' own life. It's very close to what happened in his own life, not David Copperfield the magician, so it's a little different. Also, the Pickwick Papers. This was actually mentioned in a book that I'm currently reading, Little Women, and it is one of their favorite books, and it is funny and it is joyful and it is interesting, but it's also thick, so I'm gonna be giving this one a nice summer read maybe. Another book that you could be reading as well is Ghost Stories. This is a combination of ghost stories taking place during Christmas, so it's kind of like a combination between Halloween and Christmas. So maybe read it in November, somewhere in between, to get you all psyched up. However, if you're more non-fiction lovers, then maybe give Scenes of London Life a try, because this is going to tell you a little bit more about Victorian life, and it's a really good research if you're writing any book that's set in that time, which usually I like to read about just because I'm writing a book and it's about time travel, so this is great material to take stuff from. So these are all of the books that you could be reading right now for Charles Dickens, whether you're looking for a starting point for Charles Dickens or looking for a next read inspiration sort of thing based on your mood or the season. Definitely give Charles Dickens a chance. Do not be daunted by his writing or the length of his books, because he's got short, he's got long, he's got simple, he's got more extensive ones. So I will definitely be trying to read more Charles Dickens myself. If this is something that you're interested in doing with me, let me know and we'll maybe buddy read it. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you found this helpful. If you did, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, A Booktube Book. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!